This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the all-new Prologue EV, there's a lot that can impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
Reporting live from under my blanket, I'm Susan Curtis with Dunkin' at Home. Breaking news, pumpkin spice iced and hot coffees are back. I'll pass it to Mr. Curtis with his blanket for the full story.
That is so right, Susan. You know, it's never too early to get in a spicy mood. I'm talking cinnamony goodness that's so tasty, people don't want to leave their blankets either. Back to you.
No, back to you.
All you.
The home with Dunkin' Pumpkin Spice is where you want to be.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to the Sunday episode of the Daily Red. It's Sunday, the 1st of September. I don't need to tell, well, I shouldn't need to tell you what's going on today, should I? It's them, down the East Lancs Road, 4 o'clock, that dominates everything, doesn't it? I'm your host, ladies and gents, Dave Davis, coming to you from a pretty murky Edinburgh, it has to be said. And ultimately, a bit of everything this morning. A bit of me massively excited for this game because of who it is and what it means. A bit of me's massively excited for this game to see Arne Slot at Old Trafford with his team for the first time, and that semblance of control is that there. Part of me wants to throw up in my mouth because of what this game means and just the sheer fear of losing it. And part of me is kind of like the stomach just flitting back and forth between with a better team on paper, we've done well so far, between well, we struggled there last season, we lack control, it's not been a happy hunting ground. There is so many things, like I'm sure with you, going through the head this morning. But at 4 p.m. today, Liverpool will play Manchester United, their last game before the international break. Enjoy it, fingers crossed, wherever you're watching it. And we know we enjoy it when it's a result, so we will have to see on that. So we'll tackle a lot of things United-based this morning. The podcast-wise, Rival Recons is out now. Harry did speak to Carl Anker from The Athletic and Manchester United fan. It's a brilliant podcast, actually. They're both top-notch podcasters, as it were, and Harry is a worthy bookend, which I will explain slightly later on the pod. So that's definitely well worth a watch this morning if you've got the bit of time. People are talking, though. Ten Hag's talking. Paul Merson's talking, weirdly, as well. So let's see what they say as well. We'll go with Paul Merson, first of all. He says, this is a big football match. Liverpool have to go to United and get a result. And if you're a United fan, it's a cup final. Agree with that bit. I thought that United did all right against Fulham. They played some good football. Against Brighton, they were unlucky. Disallowed goal hits the knee, but they shouldn't lose that football match. And worst, you come away from there with a draw. Disagree with that. I thought they were pretty average against Fulham. If Fulham take their chances, it's a different game. I thought Brighton, they had a few chances, but they're also woeful. And the market at the back were just ignoring the 2 goals, how bad they were from United's point of view. I don't see United losing this game versus Carries. I think United cause Liverpool problems. I think it will be an entertaining 2-2 draw. So I've got to mix with this. I agree with the first bit, and United will see it as a cup final. I do see these Ten Hag teams to get up for these games, don't they? Like City, us, no doubt about it at all. The second bit is nonsense about them playing well. I think they've been pretty horrid this start to the season. I don't think many people see it differently, unless you're the most optimistic United fan. The bottom bit, I'm struggling to argue against a little bit. It could go either way. No one knows the result, but it's not been the happiest hunting ground. So some of it's spot on, some of it I'm thinking, do I agree with Paul Merson? Yeah, up to you, ladies and gents. One person who I don't agree with, I think he's living in absolute la-la land. And it does feel like Chemical Alley, doesn't it? The siege of the Baghdad Empire, everything's burning down. He said, no, it's all fine, there's nothing going on, even as the things were going off in the background. Eric Ten Hag, people. Listen to these quotes that are out in the Telegraph and worth a read of the full thing this morning. Listen, behind City, we won the most trophies over the last 2 years, so we performed better than anyone else. Ten Hag said that in a defence of his first spell. That's the reality. Those are the facts. This year, we want to win trophies, and I'm confident we will build to this. This is what I've done for the last 11 years, so I'm just patient and waiting. We will work on the process. We have to improve the process and aim for our next targets, which is going for trophies. I don't really care too much about United, but just the funny bits that link to us. Listen, behind City, we won the most trophies over the last 2 years. We performed better than anyone else. 8th in the league and the FA Cup, compared to our last season. 3rd, which we're disappointed with naturally, and the Carabao Cup. They came 8th. 8th. We came... I don't mind this, but you kind of hope that... I'm not saying you pin the statement on the dressing room wall like the old days, but you kind of hope these little things filter through to the players that, just anything a little extra that fires them up. Not that they'll need to, I get that at all, but yeah, a delirious man, and the way he talks about win, and I think he's just been lucky that we played basketball there the last few times. I really do. And for my own personal thoughts on everything today, it all comes down to this semblance of control that we've seen. Can we maintain that? We've seen it against Brentford. We've seen it against Ipswich on the opening day. Second half, the control element, be able to adapt, overcome, and especially against Brentford, even when the game could start to really open up, and they opened up, didn't we? We could have gone, but those bits where we just had that calm and control. It's a completely different challenge today in the sense of it's a huge pitch at Old Trafford, in the sense of, as well of how do the fans react? What impact does, that have? It is their cup final. What impact does that have on our players? Can they maintain that on a bigger pitch, bigger control? I mean, weirdly enough, today, I think it'll be exactly the same lineup as was Ipswich, but subs will definitely be needed just because of the pure size, the ferocity of the game. It's one actually where, I know this is probably a surprise name, I'm really a bit sad that Curtis Jones isn't on the bench as an option today, just because of the ground he can cover, the control. I genuinely mean that. I mean, I'm thinking about our midfield options today, and you're probably looking at Endo on the bench, Elliott on the bench. Mate, I don't think Tyler Morton will stick on. Now, for all their talents, Endo struggled on this pitch. He really has a way. He did, I know he was a basketball star last year for a couple of times, but I think he looked really short. And Harvey is not mobility. That's not his style. So you just wonder what's in the tank for Grav. There's a Bosley, especially. McAllister's more of an orchestrator all round, isn't he? He's decent around the he's not quick. He's not the most mobile, you would say. So yeah, things like that will come into consideration, but we will have to see. You will all have your own thoughts. I always think a win is incredible, and I mean that. Don't undersell that. A win is incredible. It sets it up for obviously 3 from 3 the international break. No doubts about it at all. A draw's not bad because the one thing is you never want to lose here. That's the ultimate thing. And it's a good start if you get a draw, isn't it, for Honest Lot? It's a good start. If you win, it's a brilliant start. That's the difference here, what we're talking here. If you lose, questions come on, don't they? And there's international breaks, and people will fill that silence with different things. So it is a big fixture. I know it's only 3 games in, and people will talk about, when things start, but it's big. Liverpool United at Old Trafford is always big. So, yeah, it's all about the result today, though, isn't it? We'll see how that fares. Other bits, ladies and gents, for your daily red consumption, because I know some of you quite understandably like to read and see what's about. So John Barnes was talking about 2 players, funnily enough, and he was talking about Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones. So what did John Barnes, Liverpool legend, say? He said, well, it's not just early days in terms of the first...
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold! Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
This episode is brought to you by Microsoft Azure. Turn your ideas into reality with an Azure free account. Get everything you need to develop apps across cloud and hybrid environments, scale workloads, create cloud-connected mobile experiences, and so much more. Discover what you can create with popular services free for 12 months. Learn more at azure.com. That's AZURE.com. And sign up for a free account to start building in the cloud today.
O'Reilly. You need parts? O'Reilly Auto Parts has parts. Need them fast? We've got fast. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. Product availability. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
2 matches. I was on tour with them in pre-season, and they were doing a lot of work technically. They're going to be a much more technical team in midfield, not as high energy and not as heavy metal. The technical players in the midfield, that is going to suit them. The Harvey Elliott's, the Curtis Jones, it's going to suit them. It's not going to be the old Henderson, Fabinho and Milner. Interesting one. Bits I agree and don't agree with here in a way. Yeah, it's more technical. It's about control. We've seen all the pieces around the different type of slot. We know the different type of 6 that Arne Slot is looking for as opposed to a Jurgen Klopp. No doubts about it at all. The other thing to say is, yeah, you look at who's in the lineup, that McAllister, excellent technically. Gravenberch is excellent technically. He's a Bosley, excellent technically. Yes, people look at him in his engine, but there's a lot to like all round about Dominic Szoboszlai. I do wonder about those 2 players. He's mentioned them. Yes, there's so many games now which we'll come on to as well. They will get minutes. But Harvey Elliott's an interesting one because really under Jurgen Klopp, he was almost at times at the end of the season in the lineup, wasn't he? But he's dropped out. And it's quite clear, it seems, that if everyone's fit, Dominic Szoboszlai is Arne Slot starting 10. Then you look at where else Harvey Elliott was. Right wing and was back up for Salah, and he came on for all the 7 minutes he's played this season there. Chiesa's in now as well. People will make that leap, and I know a Liverpool legend, I'm not trying to be derogatory in any way, John Barnes said it. I wonder, and I also wonder a little bit, that it's right to have these questions. I think Curtis is an excellent player, and I have no doubt Slot will like him, but it was interesting he wanted Zubimendi. It's interesting he started Ryan Gravenberch here. That does throw a few questions up around. Where would Curtis Jones be in the pecking order? Where is Curtis Jones in the pecking order? So to go, it suits them. I think they've got a hell of a battle on their hands to be regular starters. They will get minutes because of the amount of competitions, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, their status on a slot so far, it's not bad, but I wouldn't sort of leap it the way John Barnes did. Just my opinion, personally. Other things to note as well, transfer-wise, Alvin Ayman is confirmed, the youngster, £2 million. That did get officially done and did a signing yesterday from Wolves. Had to go through the hoops that you have to do when you're signing a youth players, but good to see that. A few articles as well with Adrian Rabiot being linked with us on a free, isn't he? I just get a feeling that's got Saudi written all over it in a way as well. They've kept Tyler Morton, Endo still there. It's really impossible to see. In fact, if that ever comes up, you think, oh God, someone's got an injury, wouldn't you? And it's worse than you thought. So I just can't see that. However, the Mirror does mention as well, which, funnily enough, me and Trev did mention on the transfer show. We kind of said this, that we'll do another one with all the bits, but it's already out there a little bit now, I suppose. You can just mention it. The Mirror did have it. The Liverpool have been asked to keep abreast of Mark Gay's transfer situation. So that's, he'll have a year left next summer, won't he? So be interesting to see the fee. But yeah, that's all you can really have on transfers. That window shut. We won't talk too much more about it now. Michael Owens made comments. Still crazy to think Michael Owens is a Liverpool ambassador, and people will have their opinions on this, but Michael Owens has been talking about this because he has an affiliation to both clubs, naturally. So what's Michael Owen been saying? He says, well, I'm absolutely fine at both. I'm respected at Manchester United, the Derby winner, the Champions League hat-tricks, and a goal in the Cup final. It's not like I'm one of their own. We know that. But there's mutual respect, good memory. So this is one he did for the Daily Mail. But when I go through the doors at Liverpool, it's in my heart. I hated going back as a player. It felt like I was punching my brother. Being booed, I'd feel sick. It rarely happens now. The odd voice might shout, you mank, but I can put it in a box. It doesn't stop me thinking I would love to have the legacy of Cower or Stevie. They won the Champions League the season I left. I wanted my mates to win. Absolutely. But part of me was gutted. God, that could have been me. I have to accept that. It was my decision to leave. You will, as I say that, Nick, you will all had your opinion on the star. If you just switched off for this, I'd understand this well, a little. But Michael Owen absolutely fine at both. Not just coming on here to sort of knock players or anything, ex-Liverpool players, but he did what he did. I just don't see how he can be fine at both. He chose that decision. I think it may be to the odd voice. You will know what your voice would say. But yeah, so it's an interesting one because we cover everything here on Daily Red that we see. We cover articles, we even cover tweets. And it's worth calling out two of the Up boys because they kind of put in perspective, now that the Champions League draw is out, just what we are facing. So I'll come to Simon British first of all. He said, the busiest Christmas periods have 4 weeks in which big clubs play every 3.2 days or so. September the 14th, November the 9th, Liverpool played 14 games in 44 days. That's a game every 3.1 days. And straight after the ridiculous third international break begins potentially 14 in 43. That's insane just to say that, isn't it? It's insane, that fixture list, when you talk that period, when you talk about it. And actually, when you talk about that, potentially 14 games in 43 days, it was called there the average. Everyone's going to be needed, really, aren't they? I suspect Endo, Moore, and players that look like were out on their way out within the last week are going to get game time. Yeah, it does just feel absolutely crazy, that schedule. And Dan Kennett, another one of the up lads, tweeted 7 games in 22 days following this international break. The Carabao tie is bang in the middle. So Saturday, Wednesday, all the way with 2 times Champions League games. Need a clean bill of health following internationals and then full use of all 22 senior players. Yeah, it's going to have to be rotation, is it? It's simple as that. I mean, if you look at now what is on the docket for September, because that's the month we're in, that's where we started, it is absolutely insane, ladies and gents. I mean, United today, Forest at home, Milan then away, Champions League, Bournemouth at home, Wolves, and West Ham Carabao is now TBC. Because they gave the guidance for the fixture, but now with the Champions League draw, we'll have to see. Yeah. I mean, that it is just a relentless schedule There's no other way you can put it. And I'm sure you saw some of the things that people worked out yesterday. I mean, that end of November, Wednesday the 27th, Real Madrid come to town. Saturday the 30th, which will probably move to the 31st, I'm sure. City come to town. And Wednesday, the 4th of December, Newcastle away. And then that weekend, which you won't be surprised again if it moved, the Merseyside derby at Goodison. I mean, look at that for that fixture list and how it works. Oh, and by the way, the week, as it were, I'm saying that, this is the awkward one. Maybe the derby might move later in the day, or I don't know how that'll be adjusted, but the Tuesday following, Girona away. I mean, it's absolutely insane, that run of fixtures, isn't it? Yeah. And that's why I just wanted to give you the full context that I think Dan Kennett put it well, probably all 22 senior players are going to be needed. It would make complete sense that Morton gets game time, Endo gets game time. Maybe more importantly for things like that, it depends how you see it, but the Carabao Cup. So you do have the likes of Salah, McAllister, as well. You could name just given the complete night off at times as well. We will have to manage this so well. Yeah, just ones to be aware of. If at the same time, ladies and gents, as well, you're a big fan of Chiesa content, that boy and his big handsome cheeser, there is a lot of pods still kicking around our deadline day Eve-sided, you could call it that. So the Red Men have done a good podcast with the Fiorentina journal. That's well worth a watch. That's available to anyone. ESPN, Gabe Marcotti, so he came on the pod with me very kindly. And Steve Nicol have done a feature on him to say it's a bargain. Well worth doing as well. So if you're looking for your Chiesa content still this morning, or to bring yourself a little smile, there is so much there. Absolutely brilliant. And then what's also coming up, things that will be coming up. So post-match Raw, ladies and gents, that will be later with the lads. Well, Dave, Trev and Harry. That's why I mentioned a worthy bookend. So he starts the coverage with rival recons and he finishes it with post-match Raw for the United game. So a big shout out to Harry there, and I know you'll be listening to that one. Media Masters tomorrow, so we'll be on with David Lynch, who is actually right now in Norway, official guest of the Liverpool Supporters Club in Norway. So I know he's back, but that will be out Monday for you at the same time as well. Also next week in the international break, we will have stuff for you. But here, not, ladies and gents, me and Trev will be doing our final window one. I have hopefully got a special guest coming on for a sporting director pod. We will also be doing Red Alert at the same time as well. That will be back with Mark and James at some point as well, just to summarise sort of August, a little bit of September, but obviously it's just so tight the way the fixtures fall, and it makes sense to add United in there. So predictions for September and how we reviewed the month as well. Still with plenty of content for you. Yeah, it's one of those, you will know how you feel in the hours, but you do what you need to do this morning, gents, don't you? If you take that trip to the bat out of hell's mother-in-law's, as you may know her as well, to get it done, if you take the kids and the wife shopping, if you do the things, if you take them some sort of activity centre, get some credit in the bank, because 4 o'clock, this is your last one for a few weeks, isn't it? You cannot miss it. It's down the East Lancs Road, and you would sell a kidney for 3 points. Do not lie. If you're saying, oh, I've not got any kidneys, Dave, you'd sell a spleen. You'd sell body parts to get this over the line today. It's all about a result, isn't it? Fingers crossed, it's a happy post-match Raw. We will have to see. But on Sunday, the 1st of September, the first of the month, the last one of me for the weekend, United beckons. That was your Daily Red.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.